What's good, Commanders fans? My voice is slowly starting to sound a little bit better. So that's awesome, man, because I was struggling yesterday. Thank you guys for having patience with me and bearing with me with my voice. It was just an important day, so I couldn't miss out on that, guys. I've been waiting for Ron Rivera to be fired for a long time, really since last year after he didn't know that we could be eliminated in the playoffs. I was waiting since that day. Maybe a little bit before that, to be honest with you, but I really wanted Ron to be fired last year, but of course, with the new ownership and just a different front office coming in, like Josh Harris, he just couldn't fire him because I kept trying to remember when Josh Harris got hired, but it was way too late to fire a coach in the whole front office. It was just way too late. It was after the draft, so it was just way too late. But like I said, I couldn't miss that day. So I just want to talk about a couple of updates here. So there's just so much rapid news coming in and stuff like that. Just the list of interviews. They've released about like 15, like 10, like 8 head coaching candidates that they've requested to interview so far. And then about 6 general managers as far as 2 hours ago, as reported. There's even some more names that are starting to pop up. I do see some negative things being said about Bob Myers, but yes, I did see some of the comments. I wasn't able to respond, but yes, Bob Myers, he's not going to be doing anything football operational. Like, he's not going to sign a quarterback or draft. He has no say in that. He's just going to be a consultant and advisor to hire the next general manager. Like, he has that connection with Adam Peters. The report right now is that Adam Peters is going to meet with Josh Harris in Miami. So the report from Albert Breer is that Adam Peters will be in Miami tonight to meet with the Washington Commanders committee of Josh Harris, Bob Myers, and Rick Spielman for the head of football operations position per Albert Breer. So what's his name? Bob Myers and Adam Peters have a connection. They both went to UCLA together. So that's where they have that connection there. So, and I think that's a big reason why Josh Harris might have brought Bob Myers in. He's just a winner. He said in his press conference, like, who would not want to have Bob Myers in their corner? Yes. Now, it could be too many cooks in the kitchen. I just listened to John Keim on the radio. He said that he feels that it will be Adam Peters. And he said that he does feel that it will be Ben Johnson as the head coach. So we'll see. I mean, he usually is correct on some stuff here, and actually a good amount of stuff with the Commanders. But, that's just his guess. He's not 100% sure that will happen. But I do think that Bob Myers was brought on kind of just to have that connection, that intertwine, like I was talking about yesterday, just that connection between him and Adam Peters. But a name that they did bring up that accepted the interview is Dan Quinn, the Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator, and of course the former Falcons head coach. Now, as a defensive coordinator, he's an intriguing candidate, and he accepted the interview because a lot of people, they can just deny the interview if they want. That's the big thing with Adam Peters. He actually accepted the interview where he denied teams last year. Ben Johnson, if he accepts our interview, that's a big thing because he denied teams last year. He denied the Panthers. Now, Dan Quinn, we all know about Dan Quinn, even with his time before the Cowboys, the Falcons. You remember the collapse in the Super Bowl, 28-3, being up 28-3, and they lost that. Dan Quinn, he's not good with clock management as a head coach. He's not good with calling timeouts. Same thing with Ron Rivera. That's my concern with him. I think he's a better coordinator than a head coach, and he's not a bad head coach. He's not a bad. I would not be mad if we got him as a head coach. That would not be my first pick. Personally, I like Ben Johnson. I like Bobby Slowick. Those are my preferences. Everybody has their own preference. I want an offensive-minded head coach. I want a young guy. I don't really want a retread. But if it's going to be a retread, of course, somebody Jim Harbaugh, Dan Quinn, they definitely fit the bill. They definitely fit the resume. Jim Harbaugh won the championship last night. They won it pretty easily, too. Michael Penix, his stock kind of dropped. I hate to base somebody's stock to drop on one game, but he did miss a wide-open receiver in the middle of the field. He decided to check down. Excuse me, I didn't really see him complete a pass really more than like 15, 20 yards really at all last night. He might have completed a few, but he struggled last night. And I still like his game, but he certainly struggled last night. And you can see the concerns from people who have him as like a second-round, third-round draft pick. That's my take on Michael Penix right now. But I do like him. I do. I wouldn't be mad if they got him like in the second round or something like that. But we got to draft somebody with the second pick. But basically what I'm getting at is Dan Quinn, defensive coordinator. You saw what he's done with Michael Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, DeRon Bland, DeMarcus Lawrence. Like, he coaches guys to get turnovers. They force turnovers. The Dallas defense is good. I'll give him credit. They force turnovers. Like, he got it done with Trayvon Diggs. Trayvon Diggs got injured, and they were a defense that forced turnovers. DeRon Bland setting the record for pick sixes. Unfortunately, it was against us and Sam Howell. But like, you can't fake on Dan Quinn's defensive coordinator resume. Like, he's done a heck of a job as a coordinator, getting the best out of Michael Parsons. Michael Parsons, he might have just done well anyway with any coach, just because he's that talented. But Michael Parsons gives a lot of credit to Dan Quinn. So as a defensive coordinator, I would love to have him here. But my take on him as a head coach, that 28-3 Super Bowl loss and just some of the ways that it ended in Atlanta. Now he had Matt Ryan, got the best out of Matt Ryan. Julio Jones is a Hall of Famer. So they had some good rosters and good teams. So he had a good run with the Falcons. He did. Don't get me wrong. So like I said, I wouldn't be mad at Dan Quinn, but he's definitely not my first head coaching option. That's just my take on Dan Quinn. Kind of like, I think he has a better head coaching resume than Ron Rivera. But when we hired him, he had a good resume. He just had the win-loss record wasn't good. The winning seasons wasn't good. He didn't have a lot. Like, he was making the playoffs with losing records in Carolina at times. But, of course, he made it to the Super Bowl and lost. So that's just my thing with Dan Quinn. And the way it ended in Atlanta, it did not end well. But, like I said, I'm not against Dan Quinn. I'm not. I'll say that. I'm not against it. I'm not against it because I saw what he's done with Dallas' defense. He's definitely done a great job with them. So that's my take on Dan Quinn. And then the other guys, Mike Bogarski, the assistant general manager with the Chiefs. If you look at his resume, 15 seasons with the Chiefs. Number 2 behind Brett Veach, former director of football ops and player personnel. Helped draft the 22 classes from my guy Mason Kinahan. He tweeted this out. Helped draft Isaiah Pacheco, the defensive end Karlaftis, and also McDuffie on the roster as well. They just drafted Rashee Rice, he's a good receiver. And Nick Bolton's a good linebacker. L'Jarius Sneed is a good corner as well. Trent McDuffie, the cornerback as well. He's played pretty well. So, yeah, I mean, the Chiefs, you already know what it is with them. I mean, Pat Mahomes is a future Hall of Famer as well. Super Bowl winner, 2 Super Bowls. Now, the only thing is just kind of how they constructed Travis Kelce, of course, the future Hall of Famer as well. So anybody coming from the Chiefs, I know we just had Eric Bieniemy come over here, and it didn't work out. But anybody in the Chiefs front office or coaching staff, players, it's kind of like you give them the benefit of the doubt because they're winners. And that's the thing with them. So I don't mind them. They're going to have an interview with him pretty soon from what I saw. I got to put up the tweet here. I think they're going to have an interview with him tonight, actually. Yeah, they're going to interview him tonight in Miami per sources, per Albert Breer as well. And they're going to interview Peters, as I already talked about that too. So those are some candidates that are actually going to interview and not just a request. These are the guys that actually are going to interview face-to-face with Josh Harris. Excuse me. The 2 GMs in Miami, and then Dan Quinn can't really do face-to-face right now because, they're in the playoffs. Hopefully not for long. Hopefully the Packers beat the Cowboys. But, yeah, like I said, Dan Quinn, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by Dan Quinn. And then the Chiefs GM, I'm intrigued too because he's coming from a winning organization. They've drafted well Pacheco, Pat Mahomes, Kelce. Rashee Rice is a good draft pick too. But some of the moves that they made, trading Tyreek Hill, that was about money. Tyreek wanted to get paid. They traded him. And, they picked up Marquise Valdes-Scantling, who's been bad for them. Kadarius Toney, who's been pretty bad for them. But he's not scared to make swings and take a chance on guys. So I kind of like that too because Kadarius Toney, I always talk about, we take too many guys that are Boy Scouts. And Kadarius Toney has had some things happen in the past, and they took a chance on him. So I do kind of like that. But yeah, they've constructed a solid offensive line. They did have Orlando Brown last year. They traded him, or they let him go. But yeah, I think he's made some good moves for sure. And then Justin Watson, the tight end, he's been a good secondary tight end. He's caught a couple touchdowns for them too. And then they brought back McCole Hardman. Looking at the roster right now. Noah Gray. They certainly spread the wealth. Signed Joe Tooney. So those are some of the moves that their current assistant GM has helped make in Kansas City. So, all right, you guys let me know what you guys think. Bobby Slowick is intriguing to me. I really like him too. I like him from the Texans with coaching up C.J. Stroud as well, being an offensive minded guy. And he was a defensive assistant here in Washington while Sean McVay was here, Mike McDaniel was here, Kyle Shanahan was here, Matt LaFleur was here. So all those guys were on the staff. So if we actually sign him or hire him, they wouldn't have to show that graphic all the time. Well, actually, one of the guys would actually be on this staff. So, all right, you guys let me know what you guys think. Hello, Commanders. Peace.